Okay, so get this, we're diving into this research paper today, and it's about this AI system.
AI system.
Yeah, they're calling it like the AI co-scientist, and it's basically like giving scientists a super-powered research assistant that can like analyze a ton of scientific papers,
Right.
come up with new hypotheses, and even plan experiments.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that the researchers who came up with this,
Yeah.
they actually put this AI to work in real labs.
Oh, wow.
And they had it tackle some really tough problems in biomedicine, like drug repurposing,
Okay.
finding new ways to fight diseases, and even figuring out how bacteria become resistant to antibiotics.
So it's not just some theoretical idea.
Right.
They actually made it work.
Yeah, they actually implemented it, and they used a really powerful AI model called Gemini 2.0
Okay.
as the foundation for this AI co-scientist. But then they built on top of that, creating a whole team of specialized AI agents.
AI agents, so like little digital scientists running around.
Exactly. Each agent has a specific job. So, for example, there's a generation agent that comes up with initial hypotheses based on what the scientists are trying to figure out. And then there's a reflection agent that acts like a supercritic,
Okay.
checking each hypothesis to see if it's actually new
Right.
and if it makes sense based on what we already know from research.
Makes sense.
And get this, they even have a debate agent that makes the hypotheses battle it out.
What?
Kind of like a scientific tournament to find the strongest contenders.
A debate between AIs. Now that's something I'd love to see.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. And it doesn't stop there.
Oh, wow.
There's also an evolution agent that's constantly tweaking and refining the hypotheses,
Okay.
learning from the feedback of the other agents and even from the human scientists themselves.
So it's this constant back and forth.
Right.
The AI learning and improving all the time.
Exactly. And to test this whole system out, they do it some serious challenges.
Okay.
One of them was to find existing drugs that could potentially be used to fight acute myeloid leukemia, or AML for short,
Okay.
which is a very aggressive type of blood cancer.
Yeah. Finding new cancer treatments takes years and tons of money.
It does.
So if this AI could help speed things up, that would be huge.
It would be huge. And it did manage to find some potential candidates.
Oh, wow.
In fact, it identifies several drugs that had already shown some promise against AML in preclinical studies. But here's the kicker. It also suggested some completely new drugs, ones that had never even been considered for AML before.
So it was thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Connections that human researchers might have missed.
Exactly. One of the drugs it flagged was called KIRA6.
KI6.
And there was no previous research suggesting it could be effective against AML at all. But when the researchers tested it in the lab, they found that it was actually really good at killing AML cells.
Wow. So the AI might have just stumbled upon a brand new treatment for a deadly cancer? That's incredible.
It is promising. And that's just one example. They also had the AI look for new ways to target liver fibrosis, which is a serious condition that can lead to liver failure.
So they basically gave the AI a new disease and said, figure out how to fight this.
Pretty much. And this time they focused on something called epigenetic changes.
Okay.
Which basically means changes in how genes are turned on or off.
Right.
Think of it like this. Our genes are like a giant instruction manual for our bodies.
Yeah.
But sometimes the instructions get messed up, and that can lead to diseases.
Right.
Epigenetics is all about figuring out how those instructions get changed and how we can fix them.
Okay, that makes sense. So did the AI manage to come up with anything useful for liver fibrosis?
It did. It identified 3 potential targets. And when they tested drugs against 2 of those targets in the lab, they saw a significant reduction in fibrosis.
So 2 out of 3 ain't bad, especially when you're dealing with something as complex as liver fibrosis.
Right. And here's another interesting detail. One of the drugs that showed promise is already approved by the FDA for a different condition.
Oh, wow.
Which means repurposing it for liver fibrosis could be a lot faster and easier.
So in both of these challenges, the AI was able to find potential treatments that could have huge impact on people's lives. That's really impressive. But what about the antibiotic resistance challenge? You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how the AI tackled that, since it seems like a completely different type of problem.
It is different. But the approach was similar. They gave the AI a very specific task to figure out how these tiny bits of DNA called CFPSEI contribute to the spread of antibiotic resistance in bacteria. This is something scientists have been struggling with for years.
So these CFPSEIs are like little secret weapons that bacteria use to invade antibiotics.
You could tell them that way. They're like instruction manuals that can be passed between bacteria, teaching them how to resist the drugs.
Okay, so it sounds like a really complex problem. Was the AI able to make any headway?
It did, and it did it remarkably quickly. It actually came up with the exact same hypothesis that human scientists had already spent years researching and validating in the lab.
Wow.
The difference is the AI arrived at the answer in just 2 days.
2 days?
While it took the human researchers a decade.
Wait, so the AI basically replicated 10 years of human research in 48 hours? That's insane.
It is pretty mind-blowing, and it highlights one of the most significant potential benefits of this AI co-scientist.
What's that?
It could dramatically speed up the pace of scientific discovery by helping scientists generate hypotheses and prioritize experiments. It could shave years, if not decades, off the research process.
So it's not just about making cool discoveries. It's about fundamentally changing how we do science.
It is.
It's about speeding up the pace of research, tackling complex problems more efficiently, and ultimately finding solutions to some of the biggest challenges facing humanity.
Exactly.
But of course, there are a lot of questions that come with this kind of technology.
Absolutely. It's a powerful tool, but we need to be mindful of how we use it.
Right, and that's probably a good place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground from how the AI co-scientist actually works to some of its potential benefits, but there's still a lot to unpack, especially when it comes to the implications of having AI play such a central role in scientific research.
It's a fascinating and complex topic with a lot of angles to explore.
And we'll be diving into all of that when we return. Stay with us. All right, so we're back and ready to keep digging into this AI co-scientist.
Yeah.
Before we went off, we were talking about how it could potentially change the whole game of scientific research.
Yeah, the possibilities are pretty wild, but with any new tool, especially one that's powerful.
Yeah.
We need to be thinking about the implications, both good and bad.
Right, because even the smartest AI isn't perfect.
Right.
There are always going to be limitations, and we need to be aware of those.
Absolutely. And one of the things we need to consider is how this AI could potentially change the landscape for researchers all around the world.
Okay.
Think about it. Imagine a small lab in rural India.
Right.
Suddenly able to leverage the same AI power as a top-tier research institution. That could be a game changer.
So it's like leveling the playing field.
Yeah.
Giving scientists who might not have access to fancy labs.
Exactly.
Or huge data sets a chance to compete at the highest level.
It could really democratize science, giving a boost to researchers in developing countries or those working on underfunded areas of research. We might see a whole wave of discoveries coming from parts of the world that haven't traditionally had the resources to be at the forefront of scientific innovation.
That's an exciting thought, but let's zoom back in on how this AI actually works. We talked before about those specialized AI agents, and I'm still kind of curious about how they all fit together.
Yeah.
Especially that debate agent. You got to tell me more about how that works.
Sure. So remember, the generation agent is the one brainstorming all those initial hypotheses, right?
Right.
Well, the debate agent takes those hypotheses and puts them through a kind of scientific sparring match.
Okay.
It's like a tournament where each hypothesis has to defend itself against the others.
So it's not just about coming up with ideas. It's about testing those ideas and seeing which ones hold up best under pressure.
Right. And the debate agent isn't just randomly pitting them against each other. It's using a whole set of criteria to evaluate their strengths and weaknesses, looking at things like how well they fit with existing research, how novel they are, and how testable they are.
So it's like having a built-in scientific jury, weighing the evidence, and making a judgment on which hypotheses are the most promising.
Exactly. And this process helps to refine the hypotheses even further, ensuring that the ones that make it through to the next stage are the ones that are most likely to lead to real breakthroughs.
Okay, I'm starting to get a picture of how this all works, but you mentioned earlier that the human scientists are involved in the process too, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's not like the AI is just off doing its own thing in a vacuum.
No, not at all. The human scientists are essential to the whole process. They're the ones who set the research goals in the first place. They provide the AI with the data it needs to learn, and they ultimately interpret the results and decide what to do with them.
So it's really a partnership.
Yeah.
A collaboration between human and artificial intelligence.
Exactly. Think of it like this. The AI is like a superpowered assistant, helping the scientists to see connections they might have missed, to explore new ideas, and to test hypotheses more quickly and efficiently. But it's the humans who are steering the ship, making the decisions, and ultimately driving the research forward.
That makes sense. It's not about replacing human scientists.
Right.
It's about giving them the tools they need to do their jobs even better.
Right, and by working together, humans and AI can accomplish things that neither could do alone. We've already seen that with the examples we talked about earlier, the drug repurposing for AML, the new targets for liver fibrosis, and that incredible hypothesis about antibiotic resistance. Those are all testaments to the power of this kind of collaboration.
Absolutely, but let's not forget that there are always two sides to every coin, as exciting as this AI co-scientist is.
Yeah.
We need to be realistic about its limitations, too. Even the most brilliant scientists make mistakes, and an AI is only as good as the data it's trained on.
That's a good point. We need to be careful about not overhyping the AI.
Yeah.
Or thinking of it as some kind of magic bullet. It's a powerful tool, but it's not a replacement for human judgment and expertise.
So what are some of the things we need to watch out for? Where could this AI potentially fall short or lead us astray?
Well, one of the things to keep in mind is that the AI is only as good as the data it's trained on if the data is biased or incomplete.
Right.
The AI's outputs will reflect those biases.
It's like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
Even the smartest AI can't make good decisions based on bad data.
Exactly. And it's not just about the data itself. It's also about who's developing the AI, who's setting the research goals, and who's interpreting the results if those processes aren't inclusive and diverse.
Yeah.
We risk creating an AI that reflects the biases of a select few rather than the diversity of human knowledge and experience.
So we need to be mindful of who's building the AI and how they're training it. We want to make sure it's learning from a wide range of perspectives, not just reinforcing existing biases.
Right. And even with the best data and the most diverse team AI systems can still make mistakes.
Of course.
They can generate outputs that are nonsensical or even dangerous.
Right.
So it's crucial to have human experts involved in every step of the process.
So it's not about blindly trusting the AI. It's about using it as a tool to enhance our own capabilities while remaining vigilant about its limitations, kind of like a safety net for when the AI gets a little too creative.
Exactly. We need to strike a balance between harnessing the power of the AI and maintaining human oversight to ensure that the research is sound and ethical.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get a better understanding of the nuances here. It's not just about the amazing possibilities, but also about the potential pitfalls and how we can mitigate them. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about the long-term vision for this AI co-scientist. Where do you see this technology going in the future? What are some of the most exciting possibilities down the line? Okay, so we've talked about like the how of this AI co-scientist, but now I'm like really curious about the what next. What could this technology actually look like in the future?
Well, one thing that's really exciting is the potential for personalization. Imagine if this AI could analyze your individual medical data and help design a treatment plan that's tailored specifically for you.
So instead of like a one-size-fits-all approach, we could have treatments that are as unique as the individuals they're meant to help.
Exactly. And that could revolutionize healthcare.
Yeah.
It could help us develop more effective treatments with fewer side effects, and it could even lead to the discovery of new cures for diseases that have stumped us for centuries.
That would be amazing, but personalized medicine is just one possibility. What other doors could this AI open?
Another area with huge potential is drug discovery. Right now, developing new drugs is incredibly time-consuming and expensive.
Right.
It could take years and billions of dollars to bring a new drug to market, but with the help of AI, we could potentially streamline that process.
So we could have new life-saving medications available much faster than we do now.
Exactly. And it's not just about speed, it's also about efficiency. The AI could help us identify the most promising drug candidates early on, allowing us to focus our resources on the ones that are most likely to succeed.
That would make a huge difference, especially for diseases that don't have any effective treatments yet.
Absolutely. And beyond drug discovery, there's also the potential for the AI to help us understand complex systems in ways that we never could before.
Like what kind of systems?
Well, think about climate change. It's an incredibly complex issue with a lot of factors at play. But with the help of AI, we could potentially develop more accurate models of the climate, which would allow us to make better predictions about the future and take more effective action to address the problem.
So it's not just about medicine.
Right.
It's about tackling some of the biggest challenges facing our planet.
Exactly. And it's not limited to climate change either. We could use AI to study ecosystems, to understand the brain, to develop new materials. The possibilities are endless.
It sounds like this AI co-scientist could really usher in a new era of scientific discovery, one where we're able to tackle problems that have seemed insurmountable up until now.
I think so, too. Of course, it's still early days, and there are a lot of challenges that need to be addressed.
Right.
But the potential is there, and that's what makes this technology so exciting.
It's like standing on the edge of a new frontier, not knowing exactly what we'll find, but feeling that sense of wonder and possibility.
That's a great way to put it, and I think that sense of wonder is what drives so many scientists. It's the desire to explore the unknown, to push the boundaries of knowledge, and to make discoveries that can benefit humanity.
And with the help of AI, we may be on the cusp of a whole new wave of discoveries, ones that could change the world as we know it.
It's a thrilling time to be involved in science, that's for sure.
It certainly is. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the inner workings of this AI co-scientist to its potential to revolutionize science and solve some of the world's biggest problems.
It's been a fascinating conversation, and I hope our listeners have enjoyed it as much as we have.
We always encourage our listeners to keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around them.
Because there's always something new to discover, especially when it comes to the intersections of science and technology.
And who knows what amazing breakthroughs might be just around the corner. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.